What's up? Vassar here with the Audio Daily Beats. This is a refilm because the other video for some reason got corrupted. Oh well. This is going to be Saturday, September 7th. This will also repeat later on in the month, and that's going to be on, I had it earlier, Monday the 23rd. We're going to see endurance on the treads. There's also a bonus power section as well. Power on the rower and endurance on the weight floor. If you're new to these, support me underneath. Information is down there. Obviously, completely optional. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. As far as the video goes, we're going to go over key concepts, some touch points on the treads, rower, weight floor, any differences between the 2G and the 3G. And that's going to be about it. All right, so for the 2G, like I said, endurance, endurance, power, and endurance. Key concepts, we're going to see 4 blocks on the treads alternating between a 6-minute tread for distance and a 30-second all-out with walk recoveries. On the rower, we're going to finish with 1 block for 3.5 minutes, all about power, 4 30-second all-outs, and 30 seconds of rest in between. On the floor, we're going to see 3 blocks to build muscular endurance, 12 reps in blocks 1 and 2 with timed exercises in between. That's actually a misprint on Daily Beat. It should say 3 blocks, 12 reps in blocks 1 and 3 with time exercises in between, because block 2 is actually timed. Anyways, looking at the template overview, blocks, this is going to be one of the setups where odd blocks match up, even blocks match up. So blocks 1 and 3, they're the same thing. 2 and 4 are the same thing. For the treadmills, weight floor rowers, kind of the same idea, where blocks 1 and 3 are very similar. Blocks 2 and 4 are similar as well. So we're going to see endurance on the treads to start out with. We're going to have a 6-minute distance challenge. Tread for distance, goal is to accumulate as much distance as possible. And pretty simple for those kind of stuff. This is an opportunity to also, touch base with anyone who plans on doing try, and kind of help develop strategies for that. Complete overview for the treads as far as class overview. You're gonna have 4 blocks on the treads, 1 and 3 about accumulating distance. Aim to match or beat your distance from block 1 in block 3. And then blocks 2 and 4, you'll do 4 30-second all-outs with equal walk recoveries. Focus on maintaining intensity through each all-out. With blocks 1 and 3, you could choose your own intensity to hold. You could also build as the block progresses. Last resort, you could also kind of alternate between pushes and bases. For joggers and runners, power walkers, they say 1% or greater. Personally, whenever we have these treads for distances, I feel like doing 1% is almost a disservice and increases the chance of injury from overstriding. So by putting people at least 4% incline, just helps with mechanics for power walkers. So at the very least, maybe have a little bit of incline as they bump up their speed, because obviously speed dictates how far they get. So in that 3rd block, would they be able to increase their power walk speed? For bikes and striders, there's no true call out in this, but definitely maintaining a conservative push or a push gear. So maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 gears over their base. Joggers and runners, this is an opportunity to play around with developing a true threshold experience. 6-minute tread for distance, they could pick a conservative push. So aim in for about 3 minutes in, it should start to feel uncomfortable. And then possibly during those final 30 seconds, it might just feel very uncomfortable. Of course, they do get 90 seconds to walk it out afterwards. So if people are familiar with their different intensities for durations, 6-minute tread, you could have people try to use a 3.5-4 minute push, or at the very least just hold their base. And depending on conditioning, they may see heart rate trend up towards that orange near the end of it. Obviously, if they bump it up, start with a more conservative effort over their base, maybe about 0.5 to 1. They may see orange within the first 3 to 4 minutes, and then they might hang out there for a while. If they're more aggressive, 1 to maybe 1.5, they'll probably dip into that orange closer to the 90-second to 2.5-minute mark, and then they'll ride it out for those 6 minutes, and they'll definitely, kind of kiss the red by the end. They'll get 90 seconds to recover, and then moving into block 2, it's labeled as a bonus, but obviously it's very power-based. All outs walk recoveries, 30 seconds each, 30-second walk recovery. Maintain is the goal here, since the walk recoveries are pretty short. Of course, they're equal to the actual work. With 30-second recoveries, this is a situation where once the heart rate spikes up and kind of dips into that orange, it's probably going to stay there. If it dips even a little bit right when they start to get back to work, it'll climb back up on them. So they're going to see a nice little trend of kind of gradually getting higher and higher throughout that very quick 3.5-minute block. Power walkers, obviously 30 seconds to, walk it out and then bring that incline back up. The treads take, about 10 seconds or so for that incline to truly get up to 10% or greater. So I've seen two different situations for members here when they power walk. You could have them take their walk recovery at a lower incline, not necessarily 1%, but maybe dip down to like 5 or so, and then when it's time for that all out, kick it up. The other thing you do is, as a coach, is give them that heads up to take the incline up, a few seconds earlier. So instead of, the 3, 2, 1, then set up the incline, get them to set up the incline, 5 to 7 seconds out from the call out. So if you, reset your stopwatch, like the 23-second mark, be like, power walkers, take your incline up, joggers, runners, set your speed in 3, 2, 1, 30-second all out. By that point, at least the incline's gonna be high enough where it starts to build on that intensity for them. When they move into the third and fourth block, these are gonna be repeats. So once again, blocks 1 and 3, they're tied up. So block 3, you're doing another 6-minute tread for distance, clear out that screen at the start. Goal is to match or beat. Match will be tough to do. Beat will be very challenging to do. And due to that is because of the power beforehand. They're gonna be running on tired legs. So being able to maintain the same speeds that they did that first time, it's gonna be pretty tough. If they could do it, great. If they could bump it up, even better. And then of course, for the fourth block, it's gonna be a repeat of block 2. So all outs walk recoveries. With this being a new block, you could set it up as a opportunity to repeat the all out that they did earlier, or go off a field, find something else that's gonna feel very uncomfortable and try their best to hold that. Bike striders, obviously 6 gears over base, drop it down 5 gears or less during the walk recovery section, keeping those RPMs. With those higher gears, if they start grinding on the joints by being under 60 RPMs, get them to pop out of that saddle, kind of pull the hips back, think about scraping gum off the shoes to get that, posterior chain recruitment. That's the treads. Between blocks 1 and 3, they'll probably get about, 2 to 4 splat points, if not more. And then the second and fourth block, they'll probably get about 1 or 2 there. So definitely achievable for those people who are all about their splats, but really that's not the priority anyways. Looking at the floor side, blocks 1, 2, and 3, it's gonna be on the floor. Block number 4 is gonna be over at the rower. So on the floor, we're gonna see 3 blocks working on muscular endurance in 2 different ways: high reps and timed exercises. And then we finish with a rowing block all about all outs. So in block 1, block 2, block 3, there's 2 movements in each block. So recommendation, of course, is full setup, full demo for that, since it's only 2 exercises. Block 1, you're gonna see the dumbbell front squat. They recommend an option as bodyweight squat. If people wanna keep weight, they could do goblet. And then they have the bicycle press. Option there is the dumbbell alternated chest press from the floor. And then coach notes, they do recommend coaching to reps in reserve. And if that's not something you're familiar with, the idea is the hypotheticals, like, hey, could you do another 2, 3, 4 more reps when you finish? The idea with blocks 1 and 3, we're kind of alternating between lower body and upper body. So as your lower body is working, your upper body is recovering. One thing to be mindful of is the front squat and the bicycle press. Very tough on the core. So midline is gonna be working the entire time. So as far as weight recommendations, ideally light, no more than moderate. If they could do 12 reps, that's fine. But if they feel like they could do about 15 reps with that weight, that'd be even better, because then they could kind of flow through. With 6 minutes, they should definitely get about 3 rounds in here, because each movement will probably take about 45 seconds to a minute to complete. So it's gonna be pretty simple on that. The second block is gonna be unique, where it's gonna be on the straps, and it's gonna be time-based. They have the strap reverse lunge to single leg jump, and then the strap high row, 30 seconds a piece. Obviously, you want to demo this, show them how you kind of set up between the two and how you could flow from one to two to the other. For the reverse lunge to single leg jump, you could do a knee raise instead of that jump, take the impact out. And then for the high row, they recommend a low row. Obviously, it's going to target bigger muscles in the upper back, so it will be a little bit easier for the members to complete. High row hits like the higher traps and back of the shoulders, so smaller muscle groups compared to rhomboids, lats. So that's gonna definitely fatigue them much quicker if they do the high row. Same idea though, they're going from lower body to upper body, 30 seconds a piece each. One thing to be aware of is they're gonna be doing just one side for that reverse lunge to single leg hop for 30 seconds. So on the template, they say, hey, do the right leg for 30 seconds, then you go to strap high row. The next round, you're gonna do the left leg, high row, right leg, high row, left leg, and then that's time, they're done. So there's only 3 rounds of the high row, and then they do 2 rounds on each side. Very quad burn, glute burn for the lower body on that part. When we hit the third block, we're gonna see alternating forward lunges and the bicep curl to lateral raise. Same idea, 12 reps a piece. For the lunge, of course, it's gonna be 12 total, so it's alternating left, right, 6 each. You could do body weight forward lunge, or you could also do dumbbell reverse lunges. The bicep curl to lateral raise, starting with the arms completely extended, they'll curl, lower the weight, and then hit that lateral raise. Since it's hitting that medial deltoid, that lateral deltoid muscle, that's gonna be the factor of determining what weight to use. The recommendation for option is from the bicep curl into a bent arm lateral raise. So that's gonna be a little awkward, since people will do a bicep curl, then they'll have to come up about halfway and then come up and down and then back down. Personally, you could also just split them up. Just have them do 12 curls and 12 lateral raises with different weights, or the bent arm raise with different weights too. Nice and simple for that one. Same idea as block 1. They should be able to get 3-ish rounds on that. Non-stop movement between these 3 blocks. Blocks 1 and 3, probably low green, mid green. Second block, with the explosiveness of that single leg jump, you may have people hit kind of low orange, so they might get a couple splat points there. And if they need to kind of catch their breath, that's probably a good thing. They're probably being very explosive on those jumps, and that's awesome. The fourth block on the floor is the only time that they're going to use the rower, and this is timed up with the treads. So 30-second all out, rest for 30 seconds. The goal is to maintain the all out intensity. In the template itself, it just says 30-second recovery, or so rest for 30 seconds. But if you actually, look at the daily beat, they do recommend rack and rest. So they could do stored programs, get that set up. They finish out their 30 seconds, rack their handles, glance at their distance, pay attention to their watts or their average watts, whatever metric that members best use and can utilize to maintain. With power, of course, ideally people are looking at their wattage, and they see how high they could peak the watts during the row. So probably within the first 10 to 15 seconds, okay, where's your watts at? Now, can you keep it there and be consistent to maintain that output? I personally find wattage too sporadic and too varied to truly use to kind of gauge. Split time, it's a little bit better. Distance is another way, but distance is one where it's like you don't know until you're done if you matched it or beat it. Sure, you could kind of estimate based off like halfway through and whatnot. So, but at least with split time, there's not much variability in that when people are rowing. Once they rack their handles, they check it, they could tap stored programs and just leave it there. Because obviously if they hit use with the water still spinning, it's gonna start counting down for them. And then when you say 3, they could hit use. 2, it'll start doing a little spin in 1, and then when they go, the screen will be good to go and they can start ticking off with the treads. They got 4 of them. Distance wise, probably, they say anywhere from 1 to 200 meters. People are hitting 200 meters every single time. That's very impressive. You probably see most likely more towards like that 80 to 120-ish mark for a majority of people. If it's a true all out on that first one, second, third, and fourth one are gonna be really tough to match. So for some people, trying to get within 5 to 10 meters of their previous distance would be a great goal as well. When it comes to watts, can you stay within 10 to 20 watts of your previous row? Great goal. That's a 2G. It's gonna get kind of spicy on the end on that rower. And then when we look at the 3G, the setup is very similar, but we're gonna see just 2 blocks on the treads, on the rower, and on the weight floor. For the tread side, we're gonna see 1 longer block for about 9.5 minutes. And then following that, they'll go into a shorter block for 3.5 minutes where they will tackle that second, fourth block from the 2G. Rowers, weight floor, same idea. So 9.5 minutes and then 3.5. For the treadmills, we're gonna see 3 rounds where you have a 4-2-1, so decreased by half tread for distance. There's a 75-second walk recovery between each round. And they're trying to accumulate as much distance in round 1. And then round 2, can they get at least half or more than half of round 1? For round 3, can they get at least half or more than half of round 2? Ideally, people are gonna clear out the screen at the start of each round. They're gonna do 4-minute tread for distance, hit their walk recovery, 2-minute tread, and then 1-minute tread. As these treads for distance get shorter, there is that possibility for people to increase the speed that they can maintain, knowing that they're working for half the time and they still get 75 seconds of a walk on the other end. Being able to maintain their distances by maintaining their speed, very doable if they start conservative with that 4-minute tread for distance. Same kind of philosophy applies from like the 2G. So it could be like a conservative push, something that they could do for about 2 to 3 minutes. And by the end of the 4 minutes, they're ready for that walk. And I said the second tread block is just blocks 2 and 4 from the 2G. So 30 all out, 30 walk recovery, 4 rounds, maintain that intensity. So repeat those all outs every time. Rowers, we're gonna see a circuit style with a decrease in distance. So we're gonna have a total of 4 rounds and then a bonus sequence afterwards. Round 1 will be the longest one. It's a 400-meter row, scissor jacks, twist hops. The goal is to choose your own intensity and then increase watts as the row decreases, so they hopefully build power. That 400-meter row, that could be starting at about a base or maybe a base push. Once they've completed the row and both movements, they move to round 2, where it's gonna be a 200-meter row, base push to maybe push. Round 3 is a 100-meter row, so push all out, maybe an all out. And then round 4 is a 50-meter row, definitely an all out effort here. For round 4, they'll do the 50-meter row, they'll do their 2 bodyweight movements, and then they go to the bonus. For the bonus, they're gonna just repeat a 50-meter all out row, rack and rest style. Obviously there's no stored programs there. So at the start, tap new interval, grip it, rip it, crank out those 50 meters in 10 to 15 seconds, rack your handle, and then take about 20 to 30 seconds to recover, and then can they match or beat their time again? Tap new interval, hit it again. Being able to get through, 400-meter row for most people, you're looking at conservatively, I'd say 75 seconds to probably about 1:45. Scissor jacks, twist hops, that's gonna probably be about a minute and a half each, our total right there. So, that in itself, it's gonna be about 3.5 to 4 minutes. Round 2, probably looking about 2.5 to 3 minutes there. Round 3, it's gonna be about another 90 seconds, if not more. So being able to get to round 4, probably for most people, it's gonna be manageable to do. maybe get one round of the bonus, maybe not. We got 90 seconds to recover before you go into the rack and rest style of the all outs and rack and rest for 30, just like in the 2G. Weight floor, we are going to combine blocks 1 and 3, but they're going to drop a movement. So they get rid of the front squat. They're just going to have bicycle press, forward lunge, and then bicep curl to lateral raise. So you got a nice little push, lunge, and then pull circuit style for 9.5 minutes. 12 reps just like before, so lighter on that weight choice. Just the same idea of, hey, can you do 3 more reps after 12 with that weight? If you can, great. If you couldn't, maybe go a little bit lighter so that way you could kind of keep going and not have to slow down. And then their second block will be the strap timed sequence from the 2G. So their finisher, of course, will be the reverse lunge to single leg jump, since everything's timed together. That's what you got for Saturday, September 7th. Appreciate you for tuning in and listening to me ramble about these workouts. As always, any feedback, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you all next time. Other than that, coach it down.